Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to show how to powder paint with black and gold vein. This color works out better without a fluid bed. It works best when you just fluff it. So I'll show the whole process of how I do it without getting paint in the hook eyes. And also, if done right, it's actually very durable. I can drop these jigs that are 1/4 ounce from an 8-foot ceiling under the cement 12 to 16 times before they chip. So stay tuned, please watch the whole video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe. Alright, so let's get to it. We got some jigs that are already ready to go. Very carefully filed the nose down on these because everybody knows the Ned rig is supposed to stand up. So you use soft plastics on there to help get more buoyancy so that they stand up, and just filing that down a little bit makes them stand up a little bit easier. And obviously if you have that soft plastic on there too, it'll help make it stand up on its nose a little bit better. So like I said, this powder paint, so there's weedless EWG. The hook's from Michael Burry. Got the correct hook angle on them, not like those other ones on the market that are not very well made. So the powder paint, 2 smooth jaw jeweler's pliers, needle nose. I got 2 different lengths here. One's spring loaded, one's not. You can kind of choose what you prefer. Just this wire to keep fluffing the paint. Propane torch, the cooling rack, some clamps from TJ Tackle is what I have here. Another thing I'd like to show on this is these are kind of a pain if you're using shorter shank hooks and you want to stick them down all the way into that high temp silicone. So what I did was I modified one of these clamps. You can use like your flat file and just rotate them out, but it's kind of a pain. So, and if the hooks are long enough, you don't need to flip them out. You can just you just don't insert them in. Come on, I don't know why it's not going in there. One side's stuck and the other side's not. I should mark them because it's kind of a pain to see which side is right and what side is wrong. So you leave the shank sticking up, but on shorter hooks you want to slide them all the way in, so you have to pop this open to get them out, or it cuts into that high temp silicone. So what I did was modified my clamp with a 832 bolt. Drill the hole. It's kind of not centered, it's off centered, but not a big deal. So then you can pop that on there and it pops right off. So you don't need any extra tools. Make sure you're hanging on to it though, because if you pop this off when you're not hanging on to it, sucker goes flying. So I like using that. So that's kind of a little bonus tip for people that are using those clamps, that are tired of fighting with the clamp holding it shut. So let's get to it though. The reason I use 2 different pliers is I like to make it so that there's no paint in the hook eye. So there I go, I just fluff it up a little bit. So I'm going to use the longer ones to actually dip it into the paint, and I'm going to use the shorter ones to hold by the hook eye when I'm heating the lead. So I'm trying not to get this hook eye, any heat into that hook eye, or reduce the amount of heat that I put into that hook eye. So you don't need a very big flame, just enough to get it hot. I'm a little shaky. And this also makes it so that it's a little harder for you to get burnt. So you want, with this paint, you actually want that lead almost to that melting point, and then switch out the pliers, hold it there. So that one wasn't quite hot enough. So then you can just take that little bit of paint that got on the edge, wipe it off. That one might still be alright when it's baked on there. And you can go back and clean this all up after it cools down a little bit. So I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit on that. Try another one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's hot. And then dip it in there. See, it's automatically kind of changing. You'll start to see that black through. That's when you know you got it hot enough. So this one wasn't hot enough. This one was just getting hot enough on the left. So kind of have to mess with this a little bit, but and then remember to just keep fluff your paint up. Try not to knock too much out of the jar. You don't want to be wasteful, and you don't really want to be breathing in a whole bunch of that. And then, like I said, this is my heating pliers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll try to maybe 8. Maybe 8's the magical number. And they'll change a little bit too once we start baking them, but it seems that you get better results. The hotter that lead is, it's almost at 612 degrees Fahrenheit. It's almost at that melting point and starts getting really shiny. That's when you know. And then just keep playing with it until you get it how you want it. I don't mind a little bit of paint on the hook shank, but I don't really like my eyes closed up. So, and if you do this like I'm doing it and just get a little bit of paint on the hook eye, and you don't really care about baking that on there because the hook eye is not plugged up, that's fine too. Got a little hot, a little bit too hot. See, it's starting to bubble up there. You can just pop that, and then when it bakes, that'll kind of fill back in. Got kind of shinier there. Bubbling. I'm not going to paint all of these, but that one has a little bit of flashing in the hook eye. We're going to get that cleaned out of there before painting it. We'll just take another hook carefully, kind of try to pop it out of there. Don't stab yourself. And drop it right back in the lee pot. So grab my careful, these pliers are starting to get a little warm too. We'll just leave a couple of those bubbles on there too. It's not gonna be a big deal. I think this will be the last one. And we'll just put eight of them in the jig clamp. And I have some that weren't heated up quite enough in the round balls with the same paint. So I'll show you. Ooh, that was a really big bubble. I'm going to pop that one now. So kind of leveled it out a little bit. And being on the jig clamps in the oven, oop, I missed a little bit on that side. Didn't get full covered. So usually I would just take that and heat it up with a heat gun, not with a torch, because this could burn in paint. So I'm going to hold it further away. Try not to burn the paint off of it, but get the lead hot. And then I'm just going to try to just tap that side. So it wasn't quite hot enough, but it should cover it. Alright. Shut that off. And I also put magnets on my bench, so that it's harder to knock that over. Close this up. We're going to set this off to the side. I have a bunch of round ball jigs that I'll also load up into this other clamp, just to show you in the oven how those look. A lot of times I'll use my flush cutters. They get pretty beat up from doing this though, so just take it and just carefully rub it on the paint if you want to get all that off of there before putting it in the oven. You can do so. On these, I really wouldn't worry about it too much as long as the hook eye isn't covered, but it's all your preference whether you want them really clean. And there's a lot of people that are like, who cares, the fish don't care. Well, the fisherman does, and we want to be able to just tie a jig on and not fuss with knocking paint out of the. So I'm just going to spread these out a little bit, because I'm just doing 8 of them in this clamp. You could fit more in if you wanted. And you can go back, and if you wanted to clean off the hook shank, just do that and really get them nice and clean. I try not to scrape the hooks up too much though, because you take the protective coating off of those. And leaving the paint on there actually makes them usually a little bit more sticky. When people put their soft plastics on, they'll hold on a little better. Some people use super glue to help hold their plastics on too. So I don't really worry about it too much on the hook shank, but like I said, if you wanted to clean them off, they're your jigs. Go ahead and clean them up best you can, but always clean them off before they go in the toaster oven. Alright, I should be preheating my toaster oven up right now. I'm kind of unorganized, so those are in before I put my round ball ones in. We'll get the toaster oven warming up. plug it in. Pot wire out of the way. So bake 350 degrees. Start, so you can preheat the oven to 350 degrees before putting them in. I'll get my other clamp over here. So like I said, these ones, I didn't get them hot enough. So that one's kind of borderline hot enough. So really need to mark these clamps what sides because they're taped to one side. So you want to slide your jigs into this side. So I'm going to slide the jigs into the side that has my bolt sticking out. That'll be a lot easier to get them in the correct way. Toaster oven heats up pretty fast, so. And these ones, the hook eyes are already cleaned up. Not even sure how many of them I have here. But this is all round ball. 1/4 ounce. Alright, those are ready. So we just wait for that to preheat and then we'll load them in there. Alright, so we want to keep it at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. I'm just going to set this back in there. Careful, it is very hot. If you touch anything in there, it's already preheated. It is 350 degrees. So we're going to close that up, start a timer for 20 minutes. We will want to keep an eye on the temperature in there. It may vary a little bit on your toaster ovens. If it gets too hot, the paint will drip off, burn off, not look pretty. My old toaster oven is a lot smaller. It had a very hard time maintaining temperature and made lots of bad paint. So found this for sale at a local garage sale for $40. It's usually a $200 toaster oven. So I hurried up and got over there and grabbed it. It was still in the box too, so not a bad investment for 40 bucks. Another thing I'd like to mention is always keep a fire extinguisher handy. Alright, so I'm going to pull them out now. Careful, everything's really hot, really hot. So I'm gonna come out of here with my pliers and let them cool down. Set them up top of my toaster oven. Gonna unplug my toaster oven. Show you. So Like I said, the round balls were not quite hot enough putting them on, so the temperature of the lead really plays a big factor in how well this finish turns out. So this one wasn't quite hot enough, but still got crinkled,